Aloha everyone. I'm Susan Nutowitz with letsfeelexcellent.com, or the YouTube channel by the same name. And what we're going to make in this vlog is eggplant parmesan sliders. I made them for a raw vegan potluck and everybody loved them. They came out really, really well. So this is how it goes. Alrighty, so we're going to start with Japanese eggplant. I use the long version, although you can use the round one if you want to, the round eggplant. And I sliced them about this thick here. You can use a mandolin. I just used a knife. It was easy. And that's what I did. I soaked them in water with about a teaspoon of sea salt, not much sea salt. I soaked them for about half an hour, rinsed and drained. If you're not concerned about the salt, then you don't have to rinse them. And then I put them in the salad spinner and I gave them a spin, because what's going to happen is they're going to absorb the oil, and we are going to, it's going to push out the water. So we didn't want them soaking wet. And the oil I have here is olive oil. You can use whatever oil you want to. I would make sure that it's as least processed as possible. And then I have some basil and marjoram and oregano in here. Not too much oregano, very, very little oregano. Okay, and that's what I have in there. And I'm just going to lightly brush my eggplants. I'm using raw eggplant. Raw eggplant is a nightshade, but it is good for you. That's starting to absorb in. Okay, so I turn them over. And I get both sides. But lightly. You don't need a whole lot of fat. And what happens in the dehydrator is the dehydrator tends to push out the fat, so that it's really superfluous to put any more on. So now here I have some flax seeds that I ground up in a coffee grinder. Just as easy as that. I did not use flaxseed meal because the oils in flax seeds are really fragile and they rancid really quickly. Plus flaxseed meal is a little bit too much like flour. This is a little bit coarser. It makes like the breadcrumb consistency. Now this is ground up mac nuts. I'm just going to sprinkle them on, and they will adhere to the eggplant. If you're concerned about processing, I suppose you could put on the mac nuts afterwards. But I like them like this. Okay, and I'm just going to tray them up. Just like that. Okay. Okay, so then, I'm going to make several stacks of those and just put them in the dehydrator, 115 for 6 hours. Okay, and I have, voila, some already prepared. That's what they look like, already prepared. They're pretty, huh? Okay, and so now we're going to need, it's Italian, so we're going to need some cheese. So we're going to make our basic cheese recipe here in the Vitamix. Can you use a blender? I don't know. I have never used a regular blender for the cheese. Okay, so I'm going to put, I have mac nuts here. It's about 1.5 cups of mac nuts soaked for 24 hours in pure water, drained and rinsed. Very important to soak the mac nuts or any nuts you're going to use for your cheese. I have about 2 cups of sunflower seeds, also soaked, drained, and rinsed. And I have my seasonings. I have about a teaspoon of sea salt, about a 1/4 teaspoon of cayenne pepper, and no more than a tablespoon of nutritional yeast. Now people, the reason I say that, no more than a tablespoon, is people like to get things really cheesy and they go crazy. I've seen people put like 1/2 cup of nutritional yeast into like this size cheese. That is crazy and unnecessary. You're just going to pee out the B vitamins. It's not going to do anything for you, so why do that? Okay, so lemon juice. This was the juice of 1 small lemon. It's about 2 ounces. 2 ounces is what? Oh, I don't know, 50 milliliters. Okay, and then I'm going to put some water in, just enough to give it the consistency we want. Purified water. No need red pepper in this. This is just going to be cheese. Need a tamper. Okay. Perfect. You don't need any more than that. I love it. Okay, so now, oh, we'll just do it like that. I don't need, they're all plated up pretty nicely. Okay, so I just have some sliced beef steak tomatoes here that I'm going to put on top. You don't have to, you could make a richer tomato sauce, but this already has plenty of fat in it, so I don't really need to do that. I'm just going to put a dollop of cheese on each one, cheese sauce. I actually got to the potluck late, and I was plating these up, and there's people standing around go, okay, can I have one? I'm like, well, I got to put the tomatoes on. I haven't finished them yet. I said, you can, I guess. And they're just like, oh, I want some of those. Okay. All right. And then see, I just put the tomatoes on just like this. Oh, I do need another plate. This is crowded. I'm Polish, Ukrainian, Italian, so I always, when I think of food, I always think of making more. More and more and more. So I just put so many on this plate. I'm sure there are, I've had richer raw tomato sauces. Look at that one. Ooh, pretty. So I'm sure you could do something, I've seen with sun-dried tomatoes, I can imagine that as well. So you could do that, but and I think we're so used to fats unlimited, but now that I'm really hip to the whole fat thing, I don't need, I just try to find ways of doing it without using so much fat. Okay. Pretty, 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 pretty. Pretty yummy, it looks like to me. Excuse my reach. Okay, so that's my, here, let's make these more photogenic. Okay. But I could even put some, you know, basil, fresh basil on there. That is pretty, is it not? Let me see if you're getting a good view of it. Well, it's hard to get these things in focus. Okay, that is gorgeous. And trust me, they taste delicious. Absolutely delicious. I'm Susan Nutowitz with letsfeelexcellent.com. if this video is helpful to you, please give me a thumbs up and share it with people that you know. There's really so unnecessary to bread eggplant and to fry it. It just soaks up so much oil. You don't need to do that. And then to put cheese on top of it and everything like this. And this meal, outside of the dehydrating time, takes just as long as all of that, or even baking it or whatever. It's not as dried out. It's not as, you're not going to be as thirsty afterwards. Try raw food. Try doing little dishes like this and see how you like them and see how your body responds to them. I know my body likes this a whole lot better. Okay, I'm Susan Nutowitz with Let'sFeelExcellent.com, wishing you an excellent day. Aloha.